One of the most incredible experiences that I've had in the Philippines, and perhaps even across all of my travels, was swimming with the whale sharks in southern Leyte. Known as tiki-tiki in the local language, these gentle giants have been coming to feed off the shores of Panaon Island for as long as anyone can remember. Recently, the small, unassuming fishing village of Pintuyan has started to draw tourists from around the world due to the whale shark's fondness of its plankton-rich waters. These migratory creatures travel thousands of miles across the world each year, but the Philippine archipelago has become among their favorite feeding grounds. While whale sharks can be found in many parts of the Philippines, Pintuyan stood out to us for a number of reasons. The most important was due to its ethical approach to whale shark tourism. However, it wasn't always that way. The history of whale sharks in Pintuyan is a tumultuous one, harboring a tragic past but also promising a bright future. Up until 2011, the local fishermen viewed these enormous creatures as nothing more than nuisances, who at their great size faced the unfortunate inevitability of getting caught in their fishing nets. For that reason alone, fishermen would kill them without a second thought. Not for food, not for resources or raw materials, just the same way someone would swat at a mosquito that was bothering them. It wasn't until about 15 years ago that the local government officials realized the tourism potential that whale sharks held, and the crowds they were already bringing to other parts of the Philippines. Steps were implemented to protect the whale sharks in Pintuyan, and starting in 2017, the municipality of Pintuyan began organizing their own excursions to swim with the whale sharks, and perhaps in atonement for their past abuses, have done so in a manner that prioritizes ethical, responsible tourism. Despite the horrifying relationship that humans and whale sharks had in the past, their future together is highly promising. Unlike unethical whale shark tours in Oslob and those in Bohol, where tours have already been banned entirely, there is no feeding involved with the whale shark tours in Pintuyan. The feeding leads to disruptions in the whale shark's migratory patterns, and long-term lead to their slow dying out. In the short term, this may lead to increased tourism numbers thanks to almost guaranteed sightings, but these are severely damaging to the whale sharks. In contrast, Pintuyan takes a far different approach. There is no feeding and no touching of the whale sharks allowed. If anyone is caught doing otherwise, then a harsh ban of all boats coming from outside of Pintuyan is implemented. Starting in 2024, Pintuyan even has a Tiki-Tiki festival, celebrating the whale sharks and Pintuyan, with the aspirations that they succeed and thrive together. Is it unfortunate that it took perceived tourism potential for the whale sharks to finally start being protected? Yes, but whatever the purpose, the important thing is that changes happened, and it happened very quickly. During my visit to Pintuyan, the overarching attitude towards whale sharks is one of gratitude and celebration. And hey, better late than never. As of right now, Pintuyan remains very under the radar. The whale shark diving experience is far different than more commercialized locations around the world, and during our visit, we were the only boats out in the water, and only 3 of us were in the water with the whale shark. I had an unforgettable time in Pintuyan. I cannot recommend it enough for anyone seeking a responsible way to swim with these magnificent animals. Here's everything you need to know before heading off to swim with the whale sharks in Pintuyan. First things first, how do we get to this tiny, secluded pocket of the Philippines in the first place? I'm not gonna lie to you, getting to Pintuyan is an adventure in itself. Halfway through our journey there, it began to make sense why so few people braved the brutal travel day to get here in the first place. It is far from straightforward, and it will require several modes of transport and at least half a day of travel no matter how you choose to tackle it. We started our travel day in Panglao, taking an early morning taxi to Tagbilaran City before hopping on a Ceres bus to the port town of Ubay on the other side of Bohol. This stretch took about 4 hours but was fairly smooth. Then we booked the 12:30 fast boat with Mama Mary ferries and had enough time to have breakfast and chill in the McDonald's air conditioning until then. Before long, it was time to board the boats, and unlike the jam-packed ferries to Siquijor and Bohol that we endured earlier in the week, everyone had a row to themselves, and it was smooth sailing for the 2-hour journey to Batu Port. So far so good, right? Once we arrived in Leyte, that is where things started to fall apart. We walked a short distance to Batu's bus terminal, where it was an instant scam fest trying to get us to pay for pricey private transport and lying that there were no buses or shared minivans. Don't listen to them and look for a bus headed to Sogod. You will have to wait until they fill up, but they come in a pretty constant stream. We boarded our bus and 10 minutes later, it broke down and we were forced to wait about half an hour on the side of the road for the next one. Since we arrived to Sogod quite late in the afternoon, transport was slim pickings, but we managed to board a bus that might have been a school bus and it took us just short of the town of Liloan. The bridge to Panaon Island was under construction, so we had to walk across this and find a new bus to take us the rest of the way. The sunset views were stunning though, but darkness was setting in and we had been on the road for 12 hours already. Thankfully, we found a bus and an hour later we were walking the final stretch to our accommodation in Pintuyan, looking forward to our charming room by the sea with a nice garden. Psych! We got intercepted as we were walking to our hotel as the person that we booked with told us that the hotel was actually under renovation, and then he took us to a much less exciting hotel. With no gas left in the tank and no other options this late in the evening, we settled for this seedy motel room, grabbed a bite at the night market as it was about to shut down, and rested our heads, looking forward to a new day and a much needed night of sleep. After the most brutal travel day that I might have had in the Philippines so far, we have arrived here in Pintuyan in southern Leyte. We endured a grueling journey from Bohol, which involved getting up at about 6 a.m. yesterday. We finally arrived at around 8 p.m. last night. But today is a brand new day, and so far everything has, already started picking up. We have already went to the municipal tourism office and arranged our whale shark tour for the day. A little over $20 for the entire experience. It's a gamble because we don't know if we're going to see them, but I'd say it's worth it for that price. Now we have made it to our much better lit room here at the DNG Transient House. Look at this beautiful view from our room. I'll take you guys up to the terrace later, where you can see not only the entire bay, but also the mountains behind us, which are very, very beautiful. On our way now to the municipal office of Pintuyan. That's where you go to get the whale shark tours. And here is the humble little village of Pintuyan, very, very local. Only a handful of travelers here. It was just, again, such a big shock after being in places like Panglao and Siquijor, which is just all foreigners, which is crazy. So this is a very pleasant change. Reminds me a lot of Bardia, where we just kind of went off to the most remote part of Nepal, and all of a sudden we were the only people there that weren't locals. We were leaving at 1 p.m. because they said that should be, by the time we get there, all the big boats coming from Padre Burgos, Cebu will have come and gone, which is really nice. The municipal tourism office is very friendly and very transparent so far, which is good, because when we got to Leyte yesterday, it felt a bit of a struggle to figure out who was telling us the truth, who was scamming us, who was hiding things from us. It just seemed like we were, getting churned from place to place, with each one just looking to get more money from us. Never the vibe you want when you first set foot somewhere, even if it is still in the Philippines. Each island, each province has their own cultures, has their own way of treating people. So almost each island is their own country. But yeah, once we got to the municipal tourism office this morning, the vibes seemed to be very honest, very relaxed, and now we can kind of let our shoulders rest, not be so uptight. And here we are at Pintuyan Municipal Hall, ready to go. This is where we will be meeting up with our team, or the other girl that we are going with, and then we'll take a tuk-tuk to go to the place where we hop on the boats and meet our captains and spotters, which will be really fun. And here we are, our man Santo Niño and the Municipal Tourist Information Desk right here. From the tourism office, we hopped on a tricycle costing 30 pesos per person to an even smaller fishing village here at Barangay Son Ok. Just a beautiful location to kick off our excursion, a quiet, unassuming stretch of houses surrounded by lush green mountains and right along the beach. Our tricycle dropped us off in front of a small hut where we could rent snorkels, masks, and flippers, courtesy of our mans here, Virgilio. Shout out to Virgilio. No need to bring your own gear, but if you do have some, you will be able to save the 150 pesos each that we paid to rent all three. We made sure all of our equipment fit, gave them a little wash, and then followed Virgilio to another hut right on the beach where we would meet our guides, pay our fees, and set off to track down the magnificent whale shark. Wow, so beautiful.
Afternoon, guys.
Afternoon. At this beautiful beach, this is where we're gonna get on the bangka to see the whale sharks. Each boat can only fit 3 people. Very, very small boats, but it's perfect because it's not gonna be like the big commercialized tours. You know, we really grinded just to get here in the first place, so it'll be nice to hopefully see some whale sharks. They saw 4 whale sharks this morning apparently, so let's hope we have the same luck this afternoon. We are going! Here at this little beachside hut, we paid 3,700 pesos in total, or about 1,250 pesos each between the 3 of us. This consisted of an environmental fee, wages for the guide, wages for the captain, and 2 spotters. Best bang for your buck in the Philippines, if I do say so myself. Excellent overall value, and it goes straight to the locals and their communities. Before long, we set off to search for the whale sharks, hopping on these tiny bangkas that only had room for the captain, the guide, and 3 passengers. And honestly, even that felt like a tight fit. But you won't get any complaints from me, because how can anyone be miserable when you're out in the ocean surrounded by landscapes like these? Breathtaking stuff. Genuinely the Philippines at its finest. Raw, untouched natural beauty, the wide open ocean, and as always, an adventure that feels just the right amount of too sketchy and too dangerous. Dot Dot is our captain. It's our captain Dot Dot.
Yeah, we count on you.
Let's go. Look at this coastline, y'all. I could not take my eyes off of it. So rugged, the way the dense forests of palm trees erupted into the sky, the jagged cliffs, the impenetrable mountains, not to mention the wild, wild oceanscapes that still felt so untamed and free. Schools of flying fish skimming alongside us. It truly all felt like a dream. It was so easy to get mesmerized while soaking it all in, and I undeniably got caught up in the moment that I actually was completely unprepared when our spotters briefly glanced at the shadows of a whale shark and urgently beckoned us to dive into the waters. As I struggled to slip on my fins and wash the remnants of soap out of my goggles, I only got the tiniest of glimpses upon diving in. But wow, what a glimpse it was. I had no idea what to expect, but as soon as I jumped out of the bangka and looked beneath the surface, a monstrous creature at least twice the size of our boat was slowly gliding right below us. Talk about thalassophobia. I'm not gonna lie, I freaked out a little bit when you come face to face with something that enormous for the first time, especially underwater on their home turf. It is both humbling and terrifying. I know they are gentle giants, but wow, I panicked more than a little bit. But within mere seconds, the whale shark disappeared as quickly as it had come into view. A heart-stopping first encounter with the whale sharks, but thankfully I would find my footing in the ocean on our following encounters and gradually get comfortable sharing the seas with these adorable giants. The whole experience felt surreal, like a dreamscape almost, something that you were watching rather than actually experiencing. The way the whale sharks put on a show for us was enchanting. It felt like spectating as an Olympic figure skater effortlessly did twists and twirls around us. The whale sharks moved with such grace, each movement slow and meticulous, yet deceptively fast, because with one flap of their tail, they could propel so far ahead of us, leaving us in their wake. There were moments where we only got glimpses of them before they disappeared into the depths. But on a couple of occasions, they lingered, and sometimes swam back and forth around us, doing laps through these waters that were so rich in plankton that it was almost hard to see at times. I had never been in such wildlife-rich oceans with huge schools of fish, sea turtles, plankton so dense that you could actually see them, and unfortunately, thousands of jellyfish that added an extra layer of severe discomfort to the adventure. My girlfriend and I both left Pintuyan with several hundred jellyfish stings, trust me, we counted, but none of which I would trade for an experience like this. Again, being the only ones out on those waters made the whole thing feel so much more magical. It more than made up for the added effort to get here, and our monstrous travel day, like all nightmares, became nothing more than a distant memory once we found ourselves in the sea with these gorgeous animals. We even went a second time a couple of days later because it was that amazing. The whole experience from top to bottom, unforgettable. Huge shout out to everyone in Pintuyan who makes these trips happen, from the skilled guides and spotters to the people working in the tourism office with the mindset and foresight to do things the right way. They truly emphasize their goals to prioritize quality tourism over sheer quantity, as well as the ban of feeding, touching, and harming of the whale sharks. I have full trust in these guys to maintain the magic of Pintuyan.
Little whale shark friend.
Whale shark friend.
Hello.
This is Pintuyan.
Here we are watching the sunset from Pintuyan after a magical day out with the whale sharks today. We saw 3 or 4 in total. Just a surreal experience, being the only boat out there, having a team of local guides and spotters who are clearly just so good at what they do. These whale sharks that live here just seems to be ingrained into the community. Everyone just is kind of super casual about the fact that they coexist with these creatures here in this little pocket of the Philippines in southern Leyte. Literally feels like a pocket, like it's just so hard to reach, and it's tucked away, surrounded by mountains and the wide open sea. This is just a gorgeous sunset, honestly. Perfect way to cap off one of the most beautiful days we've had in the Philippines, if not across the entirety of our travels. Incredible creatures. We bought a little stuffed whale shark keychain to commemorate the experience, and her name is
Sharkquela.
Sharkquela, which is whale shark backwards with an "ah" added.
Which is very Filipino.
Very Filipino naming system. I'm surprised there's no one here in Pintuyan named Sharkquela, actually. Pintuyan really ended up capturing our hearts by the end of our brief 4 days here. It was the Philippines in its truest, most authentic form, from the pristine environments to the overall vibe of the region. We had so much fun here, even though on paper there isn't much else to draw people here aside from the whale sharks. Seriously, the only other activity that the tourism board offered us was the opportunity to tag along with the local fishermen to catch squid at sunset. For the price of 180 pesos, which included the meal afterwards where we grilled the pygmy squid at the night market and then ate them for dinner, this could not be beat. It was amazing being out there with all of those boats at sunset. I felt like I was in Moana, just part of the tribe coming in at day's end with the catch of the day to bring home to our families. It was so simple, yet turned out to be an unexpected highlight of our time here in the Philippines. As was cruising along the countryside with our motorbikes, stopping from beach to beach, viewpoint to viewpoint, village to village, and exploring stunning marine areas like the Dagbak Marine Park along the way, and watching the sea turtles bob up and down in their little cove. Again, being the only ones here, mind blown at how under the radar places like these are, while other islands of the Philippines have become overcrowded with tourists. So many gems here near Pintuyan, from the actual tourist sites to unnamed treasures like this one random strip of concrete by the sea where Trula practiced her motorbike skills with an adoring audience/fan club of 4 very giddy young girls.
Good job!
We played tumbang preso with some other kids, giving them pointers on how it's done, while they gave us reminders of life's simple pleasures. We sang karaoke and danced budots in the sand with a few other merrymakers at the only bar in town, the beachside Lapjahan ni Janine. Who would have guessed that one of my most fun nights out in the Philippines would not be in Boracay, nor Siargao, but here in this tiny little fishing village. It was a huge struggle leaving Pintuyan the next morning, both courtesy of the massive hangover from the 70 peso bottles of tanduay, as well as the emotional tug of leaving a place that we grew to love so quickly and so completely. This town took us into their community immediately and really made us feel at home, and I cannot thank them enough. Pintuyan will always have a special place in my heart as perhaps my new favorite little town in the Philippines. I have full faith that with the guidance of Tita Sheena and engineer Adalberto and the rest of the tourism office, government officials, and the kind-hearted villagers, that Pintuyan will continue to grow, thrive, and succeed alongside their whale sharks. They have an incredible thing going here, and I hope only the best for this little pocket, this hidden gem of the Philippines. Until next time, Pintuyan, I know I will be back someday. And thank you guys so much for watching and tagging along for this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment if you have any questions, and be sure to subscribe so you can stay tuned for our adventures across the Philippines, Asia, and beyond. Your support means a ton, and every little bit helps in keeping the adventures and the channel going, so thank you once more. Much love, ingat, and see you all on the next video.